you have an interesting history with ChartHop.
Totally. So I was an early ChartHop customer. So I joined a Series B company called Shogun. What I came into was what I call a 0 to 1 build. So I was hired to own the people ops, aka HR ops side of the house. When I came in, we were about 80 employees, and we did not have an HIRS. So I ran a full RFP with including ChartHop back in 2021. And one of the big standouts and one of the big reasons why I selected you guys was with everything being in spreadsheets.
Yeah.
We had comp planning coming up, and we had aligned on our first ever compensation philosophy. With being global, fully distributed, comp was going to be a huge moment that mattered within the employee life cycle.
Yes.
And so with like the, at that stage of ChartHop's journey as well, the comp product was above and beyond what the market had to offer. Also being able then to be more forward facing and look at like, hey, like my long-term planning, what does workforce planning look like? You know, being able to have that module built in and build that operational rigor as a smaller company and just say, hey, every quarter we plan and this is what it costs and this is, you know, how we look at it. And actually we did use that data to actually wind down one of our business lines, because we figured out that like what we were spending on it from people perspective and the ROI we were getting was negative. So it enabled us to make really smart decisions.
So I remember we were reflecting on this yesterday. Before we had HRIS module, you were among the customers that said, you all are already with HRIS.
Yeah. So in this RFP, I should clarify, it was an HRS RFP. So we had payroll already covered because we were still on PEOs, or we had some international payroll coverage with Vistra. And so, you know, so we didn't need to worry about payroll, which is, you know, a relief, like when that's all squared away and set up and done and whatnot. But the biggest piece too was that like with the power between the custom fields and the analytics module, as well as just like the basic setup of the employee profiles, to me, that made it very clear that it was already an HIRS, even if you guys weren't ready to admit it yet.
We were ready to admit it, but you saw it.
Yeah.
You know, you're right though, like the choice of the employee experience software, the software that it's employee facing, is a reflection of the cultural values that you want to instill. Like if you want your, you know, if you want to represent that we are data driven or that we are international or that we are AI forward, the choice of the software that you put in front of the employees starts to shake that perception of what it is you value.
And I think too, from like a functionality perspective, it's like, okay, do you really want, and this is why I'm not the biggest fan of the best in class systems philosophy, is like, how much time do you want your workers spending on, wait, how do I do this? Like, because they might only be doing that task every 3 months. And like we, you know, in our HR bubble, we might be thinking about it every day, but your average user, it's the same thing with, you know, when thinking about designing for users, like they're not doing that thing every day, right? They're doing it every once in a while. So how do we make it really easy for them to figure out how to self-service so that also we don't need to, on the HR side, answer as many questions, and I can build efficiencies within my team, or even managing vendors on the moments that matter. So like, for example, one of the really cool things, like, you know, with ChartHop is that, you know, I could put like into the AI bot and say, hey, give me the median and the average age split up by gender and total of the workforce in the United States and in Canada, for example. It would pop that up on the screen for me. And then I could go, oh, the average age is 32. The median age is 33. There's going to be a baby boom.
Right.
Like I better get something like Tilt or Sparrow or Cocoon in place, or Matrix, I guess. And like get that up and running. Otherwise, I'm going to be spending my time on, you know, 15 complicated leave of absences per year.
Yeah, no, we're happy customers of one of those vendors you just mentioned, and that it does make an employee going through a big moment, feel psychologically safe and supported to know there's a dedicated resource. So it's a great example of taking a kind of insight and analysis and taking it into the kind of action.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So you saw yesterday, we showed you AI Pro, which we announced
Yeah.
launched yesterday. What were your thoughts?
I really liked it. I think one of the beautiful things about it, not only like the accuracy and getting to see like how like yes, okay, it's hitting like all the right things I wanted to hit, but being able to give it direct feedback and then have it accurately interpret that feedback. And then be able to pull it in and grab it in and like take action off of it and build the workflows as well was something that I was really impressed by because where a lot of the AI, we'll call modules, for lack of a better term, stop is that they might just create the thing, create a policy, answer a question for you, etc. But they won't take the next step of like, let's create a workflow based off of this. Like that's something that's very unique to ChartHop from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think it's like you want your AI to be able to shape itself to your organization and like remember and learn from the things that are specific to your business,
Yeah.
and also to be able to actually take action and move away from just giving you insights to actually being able to like take some of the mundane work off of your plate, but do it in a way that's aligned with your organization's values, strategy, and policies.
Totally.
Kelsey, this has been really, really awesome. I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for being an early ChartHop customer.
Yeah. Yes. No, it was a blast for implementation and such a win like for the company of just like actually like getting the right system in place besides getting out of spreadsheets. But like really like both of like, yep, we are scaling up, it's scaling to the right piece, and we have the right software in place.
Yeah, amazing.